guys. Welcome. This is going to be so much fun today. We're going to be talking all about preserving. And I mean, honestly, this is probably one of my favorite topics. So I'm very excited for today. Yay. Well, welcome. My name is Carrie. My husband Dale and I are the creators of the Seed to Spoon app. So we started gardening back in 2015 and just ended up turning here. Let me pull up the pictures like I always do and show you guys. And we took our garden from just a complete, like just a regular backyard garden here in Oklahoma and turned it over to complete gardens in just, that was 2 years. This is 3 years. We ended up growing a whole bunch. So you can definitely see the need that we have for this topic because we have a lot of food that we grow. So, hey everybody. And I am so welcome. Or I'm so welcome. I'm so excited to be joined here with Edvin again this week. We met Edvin because we are a huge fan of smart pots, and yeah, that's how we ended up getting acquainted with Edvin.
Yeah, smart pots, they are the original fabric growing container. Have some examples here in the back. They are 100% made of fabric, and they're also 100% made here in the United States. Oklahoma City, which is actually where Dale and Carrie are from, Zone 7H. They're about 30 minutes from our headquarters. So yeah, we make everything from a 1 gallon to 1,000 gallon. You can find them on the Seed to Spoon app. So if you are interested in finding some, you can find some there. They also do carry our specialty planters like our raised beds and no cocoa liners, which no cocoa liner is something that Carrie and I will definitely start to use a lot more. So stay tuned. And I think we'll be giving some out. Is that right, Carrie?
Yes, we actually do have a giveaway today. I'm glad that you brought that up. So here, let me show it real quick. So we are doing let's see here. Sorry, let me switch it over so we don't block our faces. There we go. Um, we're going to be doing a giveaway for a free 1 year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. So you get a lot of things with that. You get the ability to send a bunch of pictures up to Growbot, which is like your lovely AI assistant. You can send some pictures, see what's wrong with my plant, or identify your plant, or a pest, things like that. Super helpful for me. I typically use it every time I go out in the garden, I feel like, for something or other. And then also you get unlimited plants. You get in your visual garden layout. And also you get free shipping too on all of your orders through Park Seed. So, woo, very exciting. And then also smart pots. So, Edvin, you want to tell them what they're getting today?
Yeah, so we're going to give away a 3 pack of these 15 gallons. Same thing we gave away last week. It's one of our newest products, actually. A 3 pack of 15 gallons. They're perfect for doing one complete garden. So you could do a patio variety, one of those kitchen mini tomatoes, for example. You could do a marigold in that same container with some herbs. Do a little compact companion garden all in one. Or you can use them to grow something large, like one of those park lobsters, or peppers, like you will definitely talk about here. I love growing peppers. And then you'll also be able to learn what you can do with them after the harvest here on this stream. So make sure you're commenting. The more comments, questions that you put on there, the more chances you'll have. So let us know where you're gardening from, and let us know what's in your garden today, or what are you preserving. So good luck, everybody.
And if you guys have any questions along the way, I mean, related to our topic or unrelated too, you can just pop them into the chat. And this is pretty informal. We like to just hang out and chat gardening. So, any questions that we get that's like not related to what we're talking about, like I usually try to star those and save them for later at the end. But yeah, feel free to ask whatever is on your mind. um, I saw this from Danny. Danny was saying it was really scary pressure canning for the first time, but once I did it and figured out it wasn't going to blow up in my face, I felt more comfy. I 100% agree with this. And I felt so overwhelmed whenever I first started because I was scared of this. Like, all I have seen on social media are people talking about you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do this, that. There was just so many rules, and I was like, that is just too hard for me. I can't do it. So, but once I got over that and actually started researching it for myself, I was like, this is actually very simple. And really, like, I was embarrassed to say that it took me so long to get into things like canning, just because I was intimidated by it. But it is extremely simple. once you get the hang of it. And yeah, very easy. And we're going to talk all about it today. And hopefully, you guys will feel comfortable by the end of the day and be getting some food preserved. I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, Susan said this was her first time gardening, her
Oh,
first year
exciting.
gardening. So it's awesome to see you here. You're learning exactly what you're supposed to do, from the beginning all the way to the end. And after your first year, you only want to grow more and you only want to do more. So welcome and excited to see you here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you know what? I will say, Danny was saying my small garden didn't produce enough food to preserve anything, but I bought a bunch of tomatoes. I That is a great call out, and I do that too quite often. Like if I find a really good deal on something and I didn't grow enough to preserve it, like I will buy a bunch and then just preserve what I don't eat. It's a great way to stock up.
Hey, Danny, I think that just means that you planned perfectly. You planned for exactly what you
Yes.
needed. It was better to have, exactly what you needed than to be missing stuff out. So, and I think it's awesome that you also went out there and tried to can. So for next year, maybe if you grow a little too much, you'll know exactly what to do with what you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I do want to call out to here. Let me share the app here real quick. Let me find a good way that we can. There, that looks good. Um, I do want to show because we are going to be talking about like different things and different tips and all of that. But there are different recipes that I have in here for preserving. So if you like come into here and you go down to recipes, you see like right here, this quick and easy pickled peppers recipe. If you tap this, it will take you into our website and it'll pull up our recipe that we have for exactly how we go about doing it. The same goes for we have a pesto that we have. I make a sage pesto that's really good. Um, but same for in here, like right here, sage pesto. You can go into here and find that. So there's just different ideas and things like that within the app for preservation ideas as well. So I do wanted to share that for you guys too, so you can find a lot of the recipes and things like that that we'll be talking about today within the app too. Okay, so first, before we get into all of the exciting stuff, right? We do want to talk a little bit about just the best ways to go about storing some of your things that you've harvested. So, and believe it or not, a lot of the things that you get are going to store best not in the refrigerator. So that goes for, I mean, even things like tomatoes and stuff. Like I keep out on my counter until I use them or preserve them or anything like that. But things like this right here on this picture, this is I have some butternut squash and spaghetti squash and all of that. And this is really just on the top of a cupboard. I put a little bit of burlap over top of it so that way it stayed nice and like dry, not dry, well, dry, but also just dark and all of that. So it just keeps it a little bit better. And it like, yes, Julia, yes, squash will store for a very long time, especially if you keep it in a dark, dry location, things like this. So it's working terrific. It just goes great.
Really quick, Joshua here. He said, I haven't had a successful garden season yet, but I will get it right eventually. Josh, I mean, it's awesome to see you here. It's awesome that you haven't given up yet. I personally think that fall is a great time to learn gardening, just because, there's nothing going on. You have just, if you have that itch to garden, hop on YouTube, hop on one of these live streams, just learn a little bit. So that way, when springtime comes, you have all the knowledge and you're just ready for a complete season. So really great tip is stick around with Carrie and I. We'll be doing this all through winter. We do have a greenhouse here on facility, so we'll probably be doing some gardening even when there's snow out. So make sure you stick around with us, and we'll make sure you have a great season next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say too, like you learn from your mistakes all the time. Like I don't ever have a perfect gardening season ever. There is always something that I wish I did different, a mistake that I made, or something along those lines. Like nobody is perfect at all. So don't let anybody fool you thinking that you have to be perfect out in your garden or anything like that. Like everybody's going to make mistakes. So as long as you're out there having fun and you are, getting some things, that's all that matters, right?
To garden, it's about.
Yeah, exactly. Um, that's funny. Sorry, I was laughing a little bit about Desiree's comment right here. Like everything's on her kitchen table right now because she has everything there. So hopefully you can get some of your stuff preserved and put away and stored great for the season.
With the prices of groceries these days, they've got a pile of gold sitting on their kitchen counter.
Seriously, yeah, yeah. This will save you so much money if you can do this and you can eat through this stuff all winter long. I still have things that I brought out some examples to show you as we talk about them, but I still have a lot of things from like last year. I even have some things like from a couple years ago. You know, it's just it's funny how much you use things, but it saves you so much money. Like it's incredible. Let's see. Okay, so common preservation ways. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about preserving things, and I there's a lot of easy things to do. So if you are scared of canning, which hopefully today you will get over that fear, but if you are scared of canning, there are other things that you can do too. So even pickling is not quite as scary as canning can be. But simply just freezing things or drying or dehydrating things are also very, very easy to do and very easy to store. So if you have room in your freezer, you can pretty much freeze anything that we talked about. Well, I mean, anything that we talk about today, I feel like you can freeze. So, yeah, yeah, definitely lots of different ways you can go about preserving, and we will talk about a lot of different things that you can do.
Yeah, I was definitely in the boat of Danny where, I didn't have very much of like tomatoes or peppers, left over because I just used them all and I just didn't have enough to have left over. But one thing I definitely, and I think everybody who else is grow herbs, everybody, one thing I definitely did have an abundance of was herbs. And I would say that technique that, that we've, and we're probably going to talk about, but that I've heard about if, freezing oil with herbs, something like a sage or like, cilantro, parsley, mixed in with like oil cubes. Oh, there you go. That's the first thing.
There it
I
is.
would say anybody who's listening who says, hey, I don't have, I don't have a can's worth of tomatoes. Herbs, I mean, you can definitely, they grow like weeds, most of them. And those are just super easy. I mean, in the winter or even in the summer, freeze those, just like Carrie has in the top left corner in ice cube trays chopped in there. You can use a food processor, chop up your herbs. And I would say that is something that is just super easy, and I think even a beginner gardener should be doing. Whenever you're ready to use that, for example, if you're sautéing a steak or use if you want to, and then you make an omelet, all you got to do is just go to your freezer. Take out one of those cubes and just set it into your pan. And it's super, super convenient. I mean, I'm sure you could probably also spice them up. You want to put some spices in there and all types of fun. But yeah, I would say that is the easiest thing to do. We always all have too many herbs, and if you need
Mhm.
something to do with them, and I think they're cool gifts too. I mean, if you're going over to cook out, just bring hey one of these cubes into the pan and show your friends off as to what you grew, and the flavor on those are just really, really unmatched. I
Yeah,
mean,
it preserves them so great.
yes, I mean like one cube would be enough for probably like a whole like pasta dish, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So super fun and super easy. I know a lot of you are talking about canners and pressures. Just wondering if they're safe or not. I'm right there with you, but with freezing, you really can't go wrong with them. They're just super fun and convenient.
Yeah, so I will say absolutely like just freezing in one of these silicone ice cube trays. So easy. I actually got like a whole bunch of silicone trays because these were going so well. I was like, I want to preserve them all this way. And I did that. Yeah, so it's so easy. All you do is just, yeah, either slice them up really small or run them through a food processor, like Edvin said, pop them into those ice cube trays, top them with some oil, and poof, there you go. Like you have fresh oil and whatever herb you put in there for the year. It's great. Donna, this is a great question. How long will herbs last in the oil or in the freezer? This is a great question. Let's ask Robot because I don't want to get this one wrong. I don't want to tell you anything wrong, but I will say like I use mine for at least like a year, but um
I mean,
how
quite
long?
honestly, when you compare it to the fact, I mean, like all the herbs that we're getting in the groceries and, at the grocery stores and where they come from and just the process that they have to go through to get to our grocery store, you're probably a lot better well off with something that's been in your own freezer that you grew in your own garden, regardless. And once you taste one of them, you'll probably be adding them to your dishes every day, so you'll probably run out sooner than you think.
Yeah, so it does say it's generally recommended to use them within 3 to 6 months for the best flavor. So, and that makes sense. So, I after that, I would imagine it's still safe. You're just not going to have as strong of a flavor, you know. Um, but yeah, within 3 to 6 months is generally a good rule of thumb right there. But I will say, like Edvin said, you're probably going to run out in that time too, and then that's perfect timing to come up on doing and growing more. So you'll have fresh herbs again then.
Yep. And Carol asks, oh yes, same one. Yep. Carol, can you freeze dill for later use? That's one that I've definitely seen been used. So, and especially if you can get some really pungent dill, I'm sure it could last way past that 6 month point that Grobot just told us.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then, so not only can you freeze them like that, but you can also dehydrate them too. The pictures right there in the middle of the slide is actually just a set of 5 pictures in a row of how we did it. So we took our plant. This was our oregano plant, and then we harvested a whole bunch of it, rinsed it all off, ran it through our dehydrator, and then we sat down with the kids and we just, you can strip the leaves super easy. You just go like this, strip the leaves off the stems, and then poof, you have your own jar of oregano right there. I've done this with rosemary. This is some rosemary that I have left right here. You can kind of see it maybe a little bit. But yeah, this is some rosemary that we did the very similar. Stores forever, essentially. It's just being stored right here and with all my spices that I have. Um, it works out great. And honestly, this is probably the way that you can save yourself some of the most money. Because if you do go and buy fresh herbs or dried seasonings and things like that, like those can really add up fast. And you can make like an entire jar of your own seasoning, like an entire size, like this size, which is one plant. And yeah, trust me, trust me.
Now, on the very left bottom there, is that butter tallow that you did as well?
Oh, no. So that's actually one of the oil that is frozen that is actually sitting on one of my pans melting. So
Oh,
it was
okay.
like
Well, and
in use.
And I mean, that actually gave me an idea, and I was like, I wonder if you tried that because I had never tried that. But I wonder if you could do like a beef tallow or some type of butter and herb it up because I don't know if you've seen like the herb butters now. That might be something to try and see if it gives the butter a
Yeah,
nice
I
flavor
haven't
with the
tried that
herbs.
myself, but yeah, absolutely. Oh, this is a good call out. Donald was saying if you freeze them and put them in a vacuum sealer too, it'll last a lot longer that way as well. Yeah. Yep, that's a great tip too.
This is something I have never seen. Vi Mama said, I use stems from dehydrated herbs to make a bug spray. Work
Oh,
great at repelling mosquitoes. That's an interesting one. We might have to get you get you to
yes.
explain to us how to do that because I hate mosquitoes and they get huge here in Oklahoma, so it might be something I need to try.
Yes, absolutely. I need that myself. I'm still eaten alive from all of our mosquitoes, even though it's starting to get colder. And it's getting better though now because our temperatures have dropped into like the 40s at night. But still, they are just, yeah. So I'm
Yeah, something
definitely
like
taking a tip.
this past weekend when it like heated up, I mean, bugs, eggs must have been hatched or something because like, even our garage, we had like crazy spiders and mosquitoes. But like you said, now what are we? We're in the 50s now, so it looks like everything's kind of dying off.
Ooh, this is a fun tip. Patricia was saying that she microwaved her basil and then crumpled them up for future use. That's a terrific tip as well. I love that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Cassandra had a question real quick. Can you use Growbot on houseplants to see what's growing? I definitely have used this. I've also used it on houseplants to figure out what kind of pests. I know we talked last week, I think it was last week, about cover crops. I've used it. We have a pineapple growing in the greenhouse, and there was a cover crop growing on there where I thought it was a good cover crop. Scanned it, and Growbot let me know that it was actually an invasive cover crop that was
Ooh,
actually sucking nutrients more than it was actually putting in. So thankfully went ahead and just tore that all out. So definitely use it for your houseplants, all types of
yeah.
plants and pests. I mean,
I
that's what
use
I
it
use
on
it for.
these. Yeah, I use it on these too because I found like some bugs on these ones inside, and I was like, "What in the world is going on?" But yeah, it'll help you with all sorts of like issues that you have with houseplants, like if you have browning of leaves or anything like that. Snap a picture, send it up to Growbot, and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Growbot's going to give you way more information than you thought you needed to know about your house plant.
yes,
It'll give you the scientific name of the plant. It'll actually give you really great care tips, how much sunlight it needs. So, if you need help with anything, it's a great, what I do actually, when I go to the store and if I think about buying a plant, I scan it actually with the Growbot app while I'm in the store just to make sure that I have a good spot for it. So, it's another tip if you guys are our houseplant fanatics. Just quick tip.
I like that. And one other thing I do want to mention with herbs, I know I showed earlier that you can easily find the recipe for everything that we're talking about, and including this pesto. But I do want to pull up this pesto, and if you don't have a family that will devour an entire jar of pesto in one sitting like I do, then you might be able to preserve it. But you can also preserve pesto in very similar a way as with these ice cubes. You can just pop them into these ice cube trays, and you can have like little pesto ice cubes almost too, and use those, and you can store those long term too. So that's another way that you can go about storing herbs, make it easier for you. If you do want like pesto along the way, you can just have like, oop, there's my little ice cube of pesto that you can pop into a recipe and make it easier.
Since we're all learning from Patricia, she's giving us another tip on microwaving. So she put the leaves in between two paper towels and microwaved at 30-second intervals to check for crispiness. So if anybody wants to try that, that's pretty cool, actually.
That is a great tip. I have actually never done that before, and it's just seems like, yeah, it just seems like something that's super easy to do, instead of, if you don't have a dehydrator or anything like that, or if you want to do it like right then instead of like hanging them to dry upside down or anything like that, you can also just pop them in the microwave apparently. So that's awesome. I love it. Thanks, Patricia.
Something else I want to try. CJ made onion flakes and onion powder. That sounds
Oh,
really good.
nice. Yes, yes, absolutely. And garlic too. Ooh, yes. All my favorite things. Okay. Yeah. It seems like all of you guys are right here with me. Oh, that sounds so good. I love it. Pesto pasta. Mm. Ooh, great question from Julia here. Could you do water bath canning for pesto? Hmm. You know what? I haven't ever done that before. Like I said, my family eats it all in one setting, but can you water bathe preserve pesto? Let's find out. Nope.
Hmm.
You cannot. Grobot says no. I'm sorry. But that's a great question. Yeah, I did not know that either. So
And then really quick, I could be right or wrong, but just Susan, can you freezer and canning jars as well? And I could be wrong, but are there not certain jars that would be good or bad for freezing?
there are. You do want to make sure to do you want to make sure you leave space up at the top for it to expand if you do it. And they do generally do the tip of having it be like the straight ones. So instead of like the ones that curve at the top, you want it to
You
be
have a
more
picture of it actually
straight.
right here.
Yes. Yeah. So and you want to make sure you leave plenty of space for it to expand, or else it's going to crack the ice. Because I've tried myself with like some chicken broth before, and I did not leave enough space. I thought I did, but I did not, and then it exploded and made a big mess. So learn from my mistake.
Yes, I have not done canning, but what I have learned, one of the things is there are different grades of cans. So if you are starting out, you probably just get you a new case of cans that are for preserving, because there are some cans that can be lower quality and you can't hurt yourself. So just make sure you're using the right grade of can for what you are doing. And like Carrie just did, just before you can, just make sure you look up on Growbot, or on another look up search form exactly what the rules and times are for canning, just so you can be on the safer side.
Yeah, and yeah, this is a good call. So Danny call like the wide mouth is the one that you're looking for, not the small mouth. So makes it easier. Okay, so I saw somebody that mentioned earlier how they wanted to make some fruits and can some fruits. So I was like, oh, awesome. We're going to be talking about that here in a minute. um, this is probably, I think this was actually my first experiment over to canning was with fruits because I had, whenever we first moved here, we had a peach tree actually, as well as like a whole bunch of blackberries that we had planted. So I was overwhelmed with a whole bunch of fruit. So I was like, oh no, what do I do
It's a good
here?
problem.
It was a great problem to have, but at the same time, I was a little concerned. Like, I didn't want it to go bad on me. And yeah, just so I went through, but these were ones that I went through and I canned these ones, like with the water bathing. So that was my first foray into canning was the easy methods, but the fruits are generally pretty simple to follow. You can just go through and usually it's just like it's pretty simple, like the fruit, and then you just mush them down to make a jam, add some sugar, and you're going to add in like some sort of acidic property because usually it's not acidic enough on itself if you want to store them. So you have to add like some lemon juice into it. And then with these, like I just put them in some boiling water. I don't remember the exact time. Um, I, I should have looked this up right beforehand. But I have a blackberry jam recipe. I might be able to pull it up real quick here.
I know I'm like a sucker for jams and jerries, and you and Desiree are talking about. She said her husband did peaches and it was delicious. His grandma
Yes.
did apricot jam every year. That's definitely going to be one of those bucket list dreams, is to have trees and be able to do jams like you guys. I think that's super awesome. And the
Okay.
fact that you can use just the natural fruit sweetener, you don't have to worry about any added sweets and all these different contaminants that they put in there to preserve. So I think that's super, super cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's so if 10 minutes is all you need for the recipe that I have for the blackberry jam. But yeah, it's super easy to do. Like I said, it was one of the first things that I did. And water bathing is a whole lot simpler than doing the pressure canning. So I did see somebody popped up, which is better, water or pressure canning. So I mean, there really is no like better or worse. It really just depends on what you're doing. So, not everything you can water bathe, only some things you can. Some things you have to use a pressure canner for. Um, so, I think most everything we're talking about today, you can do water bathing, but anything you can water bathe, you can also pressure can too. So, yeah, it just kind of that goes that way, but they both will work out too. Um, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to read
This is a
up.
good tip from Danny, responding to Cassandra, which kind of what you responded. It really depends on what you're canning and its acidity.
Mhm.
Acidity, that's going to be the number one important thing. That's kind of the point where you want to,
Yeah.
why we even pressure can and everything is to get rid of that. So it's healthy and safe for us to eat. She bought the ball big blue book, which I have heard of that. And it does kind of go into pressure canning and all the different times and what you need to know. So something like that is a really good handbook and manual to have if you are looking to really get into pressuring and preserving.
Yes, absolutely. Great
And then
call
really
out.
quick, Carrie. Janet had a question from Park Seed. Hey, when you order from Park Seed, if you use a discount code, do you still get free shipping?
So if you are one of our yearly subscribers, so that is a perk of the yearly subscribers for Seed to Spoon is that you get free shipping on all your orders. So right now it's super easy. So the email address that you signed up with on your yearly subscription, if you're in doubt, if you go to the shopping tab and you're logged into it'll show you what email address to use. Just pop your email address in at Parkseed website whenever you're checking out, and it'll automatically pop in the free shipping. And yes, you should also be able to use a discount coupon code as well too on top of that, because this isn't a discount code; it's just your perk. So if you do have any issues, send me an email and let's see, let me pop it up. Either this one, the support at seedtospoon.net or info at seedtospoon.net. It's me everywhere. You just have multiple ways to reach me. So, yes, just let me know if you do have any trouble and I can help you through it and check it all out. So. Okay. So beans and peas. Let's talk beans and peas right now. So these are one of the easiest things that you can preserve as well. Especially if you go the method that I have right here with the just letting some of the pea or the beans dry right there on the vine. Just pull them off. Like seriously, they're just drying right there on the vine. Pull them off, open them up. You have beans right there. You have dried beans. That's all you need.
I'm not gonna lie, without trying, I have done that before just because I leave my beans sometimes on the plant. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, coming up, I don't know what type of beans that I grew or not, but like it's always just so much fun to like open them up and if you get like the variety, like different colors and whatnot. I mean, there's just like I don't know, it's like mini art to me, to be honest. You know, it's
It
just
is.
to
It's so much
find
fun.
that's just crazy how the plant can create these different spectrums and colors. So if you're doing beans, I highly recommend get something that has just a variety of colors just because it's so much fun to see, you know, when you're opening the pod, just exactly what you get.
It makes storing them really fun too. If you put them into like a clear mason jar and you can see all the different colors of beans that
Yes.
you have in there. Oh, so fun.
Yep, just adds to the aesthetic to your kitchen, just perfect.
I know. It's so funny that it took me longer to realize this because I was like, the dried beans that I buy at the store, like I was buying those. I was like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just do this? Like, just I have beans out there that I forgot to harvest or anything. Yeah, I go out there, I pull them and let them dry. It was perfect.
Yeah, Cassandra, heard you mention that before. She lets hers dry in the plant, and I know like exactly. You know, Carrie's just got the great tips. So yeah, and that one's
Well,
an easy one. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy anything extra. You just
exactly.
leave it there.
Exactly. I have definitely forgotten before and I'm like, "Oh, I did that on purpose," right? Cuz I grow so much that sometimes like there will be an entire bean plant that is like in the back corner that I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But it's great because I can just go harvest them for dried beans or seeds to grow next year or something along those lines, right? Yeah, makes it easy.
Yep. Sue, her goal is to grow 4 to 6 canopy panels, trellises of dry beans. Yeah, super,
Nice.
such a great idea. For a lot of you beginner gardeners, what I would be doing right now is kind of writing down the different varieties that Carrie's talking about. These are really the varieties that you can really grow too much of and still have something to do with. So this is just really, really great to know. You know, exactly if you're thinking about what to grow. And beans are just super easy to grow. I mean,
Yes.
this is something where, you know, like I said, even if you don't want to completely eat them all. You know, they're great. They're beautiful for storing. You know, they're great for sharing with friends and neighbors. Beans is just a great one.
Yeah, and like I said, like you said, you have one plant, you get so many beans from. It is an amazing beginner garden plant because you get so much reward from just one plant. So it is definitely something that I always recommend for people to start with as well because it's something that can give you a lot of confidence. You get a lot of success.
Yes,
Uh,
and there are bush bean varieties. I have grown them before. So if you're in a small space, and you don't, you know, there's a trellis that maybe seems a little bit too intimidating to for the beginning, just do a bush variety bean. You can find it at Park Seeds website, and they'll literally just grow like a little ball, and they won't grow too tall, and they'll all be ready to harvest at the same time. Or like I said, just leave it on the plant. So That's another really, really good starter plant is a bush variety of beans. And they, um, like we were talking about, super easy to preserve as well.
Yeah, I was gonna pull up like all of these are, but my favorite bush beans are these. I love these Whopper ones. These are just so prolific. As well as, of course, you guys know me. I'm going to always suggest the purple one. I grew a whole bunch of these this year as well too. This purple queen, and those grew so well for me as well. So those are my two favorite bush beans: is those Parks Whopper and then the purple queen. They're amazing. Absolutely recommend those ones. Oh yes. Great call out here too is that the beans also help to add nitrogen back into the soil. So yes, a perfect all-around beginner plant because you're already like you're fertilizing your soil without having to do it yourself, right? Yes. So I love this. Susan says, when I forget beans or get overloaded with peas, then it's seeds for next year. Exactly. I actually had a couple of beans just pop up again on their own because I had apparently left some. And there they were. They just came up in the spring. I was like, oh, well, I guess I didn't have to do any work. There we go. Um, Yeah. So also, if you are going through and you harvest a whole bunch, and you can see by the date on that picture that I have there that I have been doing this a long time with those beans. So freezing is something that I've done forever, like since the beginning. And it's extremely simple to do. So whenever I go through, I cut them into the sizes that I'm going to want for whenever I eat them, and I chop off like the tips and things like that, and then I will boil them just for a couple minutes. And then I will immediately move them over to an ice water bath, which is what's called blanching them. And then from there, I lay them out flat, make sure they're completely dry, and then I put them into serving portions into gallon safe baggies. And whenever I want to eat them, I just pull one of those out. I pull out one of my oil cubes too from the freezer, pop that in, and let that oil all melt, and then add some green beans on top. So there you go. Works out perfect. This is an interesting question. I do not know actually what type of green beans are the ones that are usually grown that are in a can. Not a clue. Maybe somebody else knows. I have no idea. Oh, here we go. Maybe Blue Lakes.
Good
That
call,
is a
Susan.
very common variety. And Park Seed has that one as well. But
And I guarantee you, the ones you grow at your in your garden will taste a lot better than the ones that have been in the can. So
oh my gosh. Yes, by far. And the color too is way more vivid. And if you do the freezing method, like it's a whole lot better. Like you don't have to worry about them losing color or taste or anything like that. And they'll last all winter long. And then come time whenever you can grow them again, that's when they'll be done, you know? So yes, so many amazing things with beans.
Julia had a question, and maybe you might know why she experienced this. She said she had some that she planted. They're kind of flat and hard when I cook them.
um
Could it be
maybe
when she harvested?
possible, yeah, if they got too large. Because I do try to harvest my beans whenever they're smaller, unless they're like the Orient Wonder yard long beans that are like this long. But even then, like they're you can leave them on too long. Like the fatter they get, they don't get as like tender and they get more like fibrous. But I do try to harvest mine whenever they're younger. So that's possibly the issue that you had here, is kind of what I'm thinking.
And then EG had quick question about the blanching. Do you have to blanch before freezing?
I mean, you don't necessarily have to, but it is going to help you preserve like the texture of the beans, the color of the beans, all of that. It's going to make it a lot better than just freezing them first. So I highly recommend doing that.
Yep, and Susan likes to use her vacuum sealer, makes it last a
Oh
really
yeah,
long time on freezer. Yeah, the freezer burn is probably what you guys are going to experience the most. So it depend. I mean, this is really getting into it, but it also depend the setting that your freezer is set at and how much condensation and moisture it puts out. So,
yeah.
but yes, the vacuum sealer will definitely help with that.
Yeah, and also too, like you do want to make sure that after you go through this process, that your green beans are dry before you put them into that gallon safe baggie, or else you are going to get freezer burn too. So that is an issue as well that you can run across. But if you make sure it's dry, like I haven't had any issues if I as long as I use them that winter, that's generally fine. I've never really had any issues.
Yep, and Donna Plant, nice to see you here. You might be getting into this next, but can you freeze greens like colors without them getting tough?
You know, I'm gonna have to call on somebody from the audience for this one for freezing best ways to do greens, because I yeah, I'm not the best person to answer this question. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I personally have not gone through that rabbit hole yet of how to best preserve my greens. I The best way I found, honestly, I'm sorry to say, is by growing greens year round. Is what I do. Is whenever it's too cold or too hot outside, I try to grow some inside, or have microgreens on hand or something along those lines. So I wish I had a better solution there for you, and hopefully somebody else does.
This is funny. I just got the visual of Desiree watching us while she has 15 gallons of tomato in her freezer and maybe another four on her kitchen table. So she's definitely right up the alley into, doing what we're explaining here.
Well, let's talk some peppers, and then I think tomatoes are next after peppers. So let's talk peppers real quick. Um, so with peppers, again, there are so many different ways that you can preserve peppers. The possibilities are really endless. And if you guys are anything like me, you always have a surplus of peppers in the garden, because we have a problem here at our house where we all like different types of peppers. I'm a sucker for the sweet ones and the pretty ones, and my husband really likes the really spicy ones. My kids love bell peppers. So like there's so many different peppers that we're growing. So we have to come up with a lot of different ways to store them, because we are always having a lot. But our newest favorite way is actually the way in the middle that we have right there, which is actually just doing pickled peppers. So super easy to do. This is extremely simple, believe it or not. But all you do is just slice them up. Remove the stems, of course, and then put them into a jar. I usually add in like some minced garlic as well too. And then I will do in here is just a mixture of like half water, half of vinegar, and I added a little bit of salt and sugar in here, and voila, that's it. Super easy to do. I went through and water canned these right here, because the vinegar adds good acidity for it. So I water bathed these for 10 minutes, and voila, they're ready. They're good and they're shelf stable. So it's amazing. I love it. Super easy to do. Highly, highly recommend it, because we go through these often, all the time. And it's really nice to have fresh peppers like all the time.
Yeah, Cassandra's thanking you because her jalapeno plant was extra generous. I need advice.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely feel you with this on this, Cassandra. Last season I grew a Tabasco pepper plant, and I don't know if you guys have grown one or not, but you get like a million like 1 to 2 inch peppers on like one plant is what I got, and I had way more peppers than I ever needed. So I'm definitely listening on this one too. So thank you, Carrie, for these great tips.
Well, great. Um, so, I mean, besides making pickled peppers, there's obviously a million other things you can do. You can also go through and dry them out. Um, there's a couple different ways you can do this. I actually, with some of my plants, like we have those little tiny red peppers that I showed. I made a video showing this like a couple weeks ago. I'll post it again here soon, but I really just cut it and then hung it upside down and let it dry in the window
That's what
for
I should have done, honestly. And Carrie, I don't know if you've grown the Tabasco plant or not. I recommend it to you. It just grows. It grew with one stem, so I think that would be perfect to just chop the stem and just. I wish
yeah.
I would have known this because I would have, I wouldn't have wasted so many peppers. So Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy to do. And then once you pull them there, you can make your own like crushed pepper flakes right here. Like, and seriously, like my husband adds these to almost everything now. I feel like he'll just go and pull out if I don't make it spicy enough, because obviously, like we have 6 kids, so with all the kids will have a different spicy level that they want. Believe it or not, with the youngest having the most tolerance of spice, but
Yeah. And
everybody wants their own, and so there we go.
yeah, and call out on that. So before we're guard before before smart pot and everything, I am a consumer first. And I don't know about you guys, but like going now to like pizza places, I feel like they're like limiting the amount of like cheese and red pepper packets you're getting, and like some places are charging like 60 cents for like a quarter size
Oh
packet
my
of red
god.
pepper. I don't know if you've also experienced. I feel like Domino's, like Pizza Hut places are starting to do this. And it's like like you have that whole jar. It's like, I'd rather have that, and it's probably a lot more tasty than the little packets they give us at the pizza shop. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be trying that. And also Vivi Mama, I'm also happy that somebody in the chat understands me. She's got a Tabasco peppers and they're just turning orange. I know it's just like when you're looking down, it's like you get like oranges, greens, and reds. It's just an awesome pepper plant. So I recommend that for sure.
I saw somebody was having, yeah, her kitchen mini peppers, so you're definitely storing a lot. That's awesome. Yeah, I have some here too, fresh. It's exciting because my husband was like, "Do we have any fresh peppers?" I was like, "Yeah, we do, right here, right here in the
Yeah, and
kitchen."
there's just so amazing how like vigorous and prolific that those little plants are.
I
It's like
know, love
I feel
them.
like 3 years ago, like, you could only have a pepper plant that was like huge and like had to be in a 15 gallon. And then like those guys over at the Kitchen Minis, they've
Yeah, these
just
1 gallon smart pots I'm growing them, like really small. It's amazing. Yeah, I love it.
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, and Julia also, yeah, they are, and some stores don't even have them anymore. Like, yeah, like some of like the spices and like stuff that adds flavor is just, going away now just because it's so hard to get and it's just getting so expensive for such a small amount as well. For the amount you're paying, for a little packet of these herbs, you can get a packet of seeds and, garden
Yeah.
for a very long time.
Yeah. And like I said, like, I mean, this will last you for, like, if you just dry it, like, I mean, as long as you store it right, I mean, you can be using it forever, honestly. I mean, not forever, but you know what I mean. So many different ways to use that. But like I said, you can hang it upside down even to dry it. If you don't have a dehydrator, but dehydrator is definitely going to be really easy as well. I will say, I've said this before, and I will always say this to learn from me, and don't run your dehydrator with peppers indoors unless you have all the windows open, because you will feel it for sure. Do it in the garage or someplace well ventilated. Please learn from my advice there.
Oh, Julia, I don't know, Carrie, have you done this? Done with pickled carrots and peppers? I know in Hispanic dishes, this is very, very popular.
I have not done pickled carrots and peppers. I've done, you see, and I didn't grab one of the examples. I've done the pickled onions
Ooh.
and peppers together. So I have like some that are a mixture of the two. So I can really just go and pull from one jar, like if I'm making like wraps or something that has both. But that's the only combination that I've ever done before. But that's an awesome idea too. I love that idea.
Hey, I just thought of an idea with those new kitchen mini cucumbers, which if you guys haven't seen those,
Oh, yeah.
definitely check those out. Maybe we should plant like a row of them next season and, for the plan to actually pickle those. I think pickling some mini cucumbers would be so cool.
That would be fun. Yes. I love it. Um, and then also, I do want to pull out. So there's a super interesting thing you can do too with jalapenos. If you have a lot of them, you can actually, if you have like a smoker or anything like that, you can pop them in and actually smoke your jalapenos. If you do the red ones, it'll be chipotle peppers. So it's super interesting how it turns from a jalapeno to chipotle peppers, but that really is just a smoked jalapeno. So that's something you can do, and you can do it for like even super long if you want to like dry them essentially on the smoker. Now that is like an all day process, or you can just do like an hour or something like that, or two. But whenever we did this, we did it like the entire day and just literally smoked the jalapenos all day long and had just these amazing just chipotle peppers after. It was awesome. Yeah. Um, yeah, lots of different things you can do. And then of course you can always freeze peppers as well too. That is something I do often if I am out of time or I'm trying to do something really fast. So I just go through, I run the peppers through a food processor. I just remove the stems. That's all I do is remove the stems, pop them in a food processor, get them small, lay them flat on top of some like parchment paper, pop them in the freezer for like 24 hours. And then I move them over into a Ziploc baggie to like a freezer safe baggie to use at a later time. So whenever I'm using those little spice cubes, oil cubes, I'll get this from the freezer as well too. And then I have some peppers to go along with it. And yeah, I use this all the time. So I have a bunch of different ways to preserve because they're all amazing.
Yeah, EJ kind of made me giggle with what she said at the end. She said she dehydrated Tabasco peppers in her Ninja, and maybe it was because she didn't cut them up. Thankfully, she had no issues with the air being spicy. So who knows, Carrie? Maybe that might be the tip: is not to chop them up to make the air spicy. That was funny.
Yeah, I because I did like slice them half in the middle halfway so they would go a little faster. So maybe that released it all. Okay, so tomatoes. I know the topic that everybody wants to talk about and that everybody's been asking questions about. And believe it or not, with everything, all these examples that I had, all I could find was just a picture of it because I have gone through my storage of my fresh tomato sauce, which I'm like, no, I need to go make some more now. So, um, but this again is probably the most intimidating thing that I did or that I've done was making my own like tomato sauce and things like that and then canning it for later. It's so accomplishing though. Seriously, if you can do that and go put it on your shelf and then you come to it in like the middle of the winter and you're like, these are from my fresh tomatoes, or I mean, peppers or things like that. It's just so accomplishing to seriously to go and look into the wherever you store them and see it. It's seriously, I never, it never gets old. Never gets old. Every single time. I probably annoy my husband, but I go in there and I'm like, this is something that I did. Because it's so it like feels so good. You're like, yes. Um but we did talk briefly earlier in about storing, and I did want to reiterate that I do like to store my tomatoes like on the counter for if I'm gonna be using them soon, just because like they will last a lot better and taste better too. If you put them in the refrigerator, yes, they will last okay, but their concentration, like it's not going to taste as good, if you guys get what I'm saying. Um, It'll taste so much better if you just leave them at room temperature until you go to either use them or preserve them. And I try to keep them in like this type of container so it's like open and like and wide, so they're not like all piled up on top of each other, squishing each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I will say when I go through and did the tomato sauce, it is I mean, you definitely want to make sure you follow instructions on those too, but generally all you need to do is just make sure, like what I was doing was cooking the tomatoes, and then I would add a little bit of acidity on top of that too. So I would add in like the lemon juice, and then I would go through and can them too. And that's something as well. You can water bathe these too, or you can do the pressure canner. So, which it's totally up to you as to which one you want to do. Generally, I like to go with water canning just because it's easier and my pressure canner is huge. So, if I don't have to bust out my pressure canner, I generally don't. But it, like I said, it is huge though. So, if I'm doing a lot of them at once, I do like to pull it out. So, it just kind of depends on what it is I'm doing. But like I said, it's extremely simple. Like I didn't realize how simple it was. I essentially just made my tomato sauce how I normally do, and added in some lemon juice and then water bathed them. I think it was like 30 to 45 minutes. And then voila. Like it's yeah, it's awesome. But definitely like look up a recipe. It is so rewarding. Definitely do it. You guys have to. Let me know how it goes because it is yeah, it's so rewarding.
Oh
Okay,
no.
how long can you keep the canned tomatoes? So if they are canned appropriately, like I mean, I don't think there is a super strong limit. Let's pull it up though. Again, I always want to make sure that I tell you guys exact right dates, especially when we're dealing with dates. Let's see. So, home canned tomatoes can typically be stored for up to 12 to 18 months for optimal quality. However, commercially canned tomatoes often have a best by date printed on the can and can generally be stored for 1 to 2 years. So, keep them in a cool, dry place. And yeah, it absolutely too. This is a great tip from Growbot. So if there is any like dents or leaks or smells or anything like that, like definitely don't use those. But you can obviously tell if there's an issue with them usually beforehand. And you do want to make sure like that the tops do go down and they're not like popping up for you. That means that it didn't seal right. So you do want to verify that it is correctly sealed before you go and store them on your shelf too.
EG had something going on that normally it's a good problem, but if you're in a small space, it cannot be a good problem. So her angel sweet tomato strangled everything else in the garden. Had so many, I didn't even know what to do with them anymore. So angel sweet is an indeterminate, which means that it will grow basically like a weed. It'll grow everywhere, and if you don't maintain it, yes, there is a chance because it's happened to me that the stems will actually tangle other plants, and it can actually suffocate other plants. And if you have a high canopy, anything growing below it will, can potentially not get enough sun. So the biggest tip on that I would have is make sure you trellis way before you think you need to. I have definitely made this mistake where I don't trellis at the beginning, and then I try to go in at the very end, and then I don't want to break stems, and it literally becomes a mess. I did it this year in the greenhouse with the purple tomato. So my tip on that is trellis as soon as you plant. You're gonna thank yourself in the future because from one day to the next, your vigorous plant can grow a couple of inches, and then it gets to the point where you can't trellis. So trellis, even when they're super small, where you plant the
Mhm.
seeds, that'd be my tip on that. And also with indeterminates, I like to do a lot of pruning. So prune to 1 liter stem, or just try to prune to one side if you've got other plants growing. So maintenance is the number one thing with indeterminates. Another thing, if you're in a smaller space where this could be a bigger problem, I mean, there's some people who are saying, "Hey, I want to have more tomatoes than I can manage." If you're in a smaller space, I would definitely try to recommend you do a patio variety of a tomato. It's going to be contained all in one area. It's only going to get to a certain size, and it's just gonna fruit out with tomatoes. Yep, just like the one
I was
Carrie's
gonna say
got.
I have a
Um,
kitchen mini back here too in a 1 gallon, and this thing gives me so many tomatoes. It's awesome. So many like
yeah,
little tiny cherry tomatoes. I love it.
yeah, EG. So if you're somebody who you don't have enough space, still want to garden, look for patio-sized tomatoes. They'll still give you a good amount of tomatoes. You just don't have to worry about trellising or pruning as much as you would with an indeterminate.
How
Oh,
did
the
that?
purple
Yeah.
tomato. I'm not gonna lie, Carol. The purple tomato actually tastes, I'm not somebody like I don't even know how to explain it, but like I don't really like eating raw tomatoes. Like I can't stand like it's got like a pungent like taste to me. Certain tomatoes, like the sun golds, actually taste pretty good to me. But it actually tasted like on the sweeter side. It wasn't as bitter. Now it is a GMO. I mean, full out, flat out. The people who invented it, Northfolk Foods Farms, they claim it. They say it's a GMO. It's crossed with a certain mushroom, and it actually has more antioxidants, so it's actually a healthier tomato. And it's super cool. It grows very vigorously. I wasn't expecting it to grow as vigorous as it did. But yeah, it was just super cool. I mean, just like and it's very purple. It's a very purple tomato. And it's the best way to explain it. It's a cherry tomato that looks purple, that has less of a pungent tomato taste, if that makes sense. It's not sweet, but it's not as pungent as tomato.
Yeah, I will say this is a great to do. Yeah, pop them in a smart pot.
Yes, I was going to say that the smart pot allows you to move it around if it's getting too close to one of your plants, and it's all contained into one. So I'd recommend, trying a 15 gallon at least for that tomato. It'll give it enough space. I grew the purple tomato in a 20 gallon, and like I said, it overgrew faster than I could react to be quite honest with you. So both of those are just good sizes. You don't want to go any smaller. I mean, you can do a 10 gallon if you really want to go down to that space. But quite honestly, you're wasting so much time and energy that the 15 gallon just provides more nutrients and more water space for that plant, for that tomato plant.
Okay, so really quick, I know we are already at time. I don't know how that
Oh
happened.
wow,
I just looked
we're
up and I
having
was like,
fun.
oh man. But I don't. We did briefly talk about pickling because we talked about like the peppers and the onions and things like that. But I did want to touch on like the cucumbers, of course, because that's obviously the thing that you are going to think of when you think of pickling, right? But there are actually like pickling varieties of cucumbers, like you mentioned earlier too, Edvin. Like those small kitchen mini ones would be perfect for this. But again, it's so simple. All you need to do is just add a half mixture of vinegar and water, and voila, that's really all you need. It makes it taste so good. And seriously, I will say, if you do red onions because it is so fun and they're pretty too. They're beautiful. Okay. Edvin, you want to talk about our giveaway that we have real quick while I go ahead and draw the winner real quick?
Yeah, and really quick also, Pepper Guru, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. He said he's got peppers
Oh.
growing from 15 gallon to 200 gallons. So yes, we do make up to 1,000 gallon smart pots, believe it or not. It's the size of like a big hot tub that like 10 people can literally fit in. So yes, I mean the plants that we talked about are very vigorous or advantageous, especially tomatoes. They will take up the available space. I mean, we have pictures of 100-gallon tomatoes. Um, so yeah, super cool, Pepper Guru, to hear that you're loving your smart pots. What we're going to be giving away is a pack of three 15-gallon smart pots. They're the ones that you see here in the back. They're great if you're somebody who likes to do just fall arrangements like I did here. Yeah, perfect time if you want to set something out in the front porch, welcome in the trick-or-treaters. They're great for all those fall arrangements. Or they are certified lead and BPA free, so they are great for growing all your tomatoes, vegetables, herbs. If you're somebody who wants to try to do garlic or onion over the winter, the smart pots are perfect for that. They are frost resistant, so you'll be able to harvest come springtime. So somebody's going to get a 3 pack of those with handles. So we talked about, moving them around, e.g. if the tomato you plant in there, gets a little too vigorous, you can easily move them around or put them on plant stands. So they are also available on the Seed to Spoon app. So if you don't win today and you are a premium subscription subscriber, you can actually get free shipping on all of those through the Seed to Spoon app. And they also do have how many plants per smart pot can fit. So if you have any questions as to how many you can grow in one pot, just head over to their app, and any variety has all the information that you need. So yeah, super cool, and good luck to everybody. And thank you guys so much for joining, and thank you, Carrie, for having me every week. And yeah, let's see who's going to be the lucky winner.
Okay, congratulations to Carol Connor. So send me an email at info@seedtospoon.net with all your stuff, and we'll get you hooked up with your free year of premium subscription for Seed to Spoon, as well as those smart pots that he was talking about. That's exciting. Woo! Congratulations. And so we do this every week, and I hope that you all can join us because I mean this is so much fun. We have fun. We just sit here and hang out and chat gardening and hang out with you guys for an hour, sometimes more. It seems.
Yeah,
um,
and we will be doing this through the winter. So if you're somebody who has that gardening itch, Carrie and I have a lot of cool tips and fun projects that you could do through the winter. Even if
mhm.
you're somewhere where there's snow, trust me, we have a lot of ways you can keep gardening, especially with our friends up at Kitchen Minis that they've been just producing. It looks like they're going to eventually have every single vegetable as being able to be grown in a 1 gallon. We love to grow microgreens, stuff that you can grow in a window in an apartment in an office. I've grown vegetables and herbs in my office that receives no sun. So definitely stick around. And like Carrie said, every single Tuesday. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to her privately or ask Growbot. I mean, I'm always reaching out to Growbot. He's something that I literally have in my pocket, everywhere I go, just because I always run into somebody asking about a certain variety of plant or what bug this is or anything like that. So yeah, super cool. Thank you guys for joining us. Congratulations, Carol. Make sure you send us your information. We can get you your smart pots, and you're going to be a 1 year subscription subscriber. So make sure you get that garlic and onion order in, free shipping. So that's super super cool.
Woo. Yep. Congratulations. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining. And I hope that we see you all next week. Same time, same place. See you guys.